Hello, Scrufftards. Welcome to the War Zone. I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. And in this video, we are not gonna be talking about the shit show that just took place in Washington. I might do a separate video about that, but we're gonna be talking about how Russia is quite clearly making a move to cut off Kursk from reinforcements, from supplies, from everything. Russia is trying to outflank the Ukrainians. And we've been talking about this for a couple of days now, and now all the mappers appears to confirm what's happening, partially at least. So we're going to be taking a look at that, and towards the end we're going to take a look at how a unit in Ukraine that relies heavily on Swedish equipment might actually be in the thick of the fighting. Right, so ISW map and the Russian claims over here. People have been asking, is this really true? They're only claims. Can we trust it? And we know that, first of all, up here, Russia has pushed Ukraine back. Russia is in control of Pogrebki and some other small towns. Down here, Ukraine has been forced back. Russia has pushed into the towns that Ukraine pushed out and claimed 2-3 weeks ago in that big push that took Russia by surprise. Russia is now pushed back in here, geolocated. Now, and then we have these claims up here. This is the big battle. Down here, Yunaikivka, this is the main supply hub for Ukraine into Kursk. I've been talking about the various supply lines between the border and Sudzha, and the dangers if Russia crosses these rivers and goes after them. But what Russia appears to be doing is going for the hub itself. From Yunaikivka, Ukraine is sending reinforcements, supplies, everything along this main highway, or via smaller dirt tracks across the terrain here, reaching a Russian road, Russian highway leading from Guyevo this way and then up to Sudzha. So if Russia can reach Yunaikivka, they cut all supplies into Kursk. Everything. And then these units, all the Ukrainians here are cut off from reinforcements, from supplies, from ammunition, food, medical evacuation, everything, if Yunaikivka falls. Ukraine has some options down here, but it's hardly any roads down here at all. And it would be disastrous if Ukraine tries to rely on roads down here. So the claims are that Russia made a push for Basivka and Novenke here, and that they've also made it out here. And I've been talking about, is it weak now? And people have been asking, is this true? And now we're getting confirmation after confirmation that Russia is making a big push in this area. If we take a look at Deep State, confirmed, Russia is pushing from Sverdlikovo towards Novenke, confirmed by Deep State. We take a look at Andrew Perpetua. We can go back here a couple of days. You can see the push from Darino towards Basivka. This push, in part, confirmed that Russia has pushed down this way. You can see here they're now within Ukraine here. This is this push. Then we saw Ukraine pushing up here, Russian drone attacks against Ukrainian positions. And then we get the push to Novenke. This is now contested area. Maybe we're seeing a Ukrainian counter-assault up here. But quite clearly, we have evidence that this is ongoing at the moment. Let's see if we can see anything on the Mayakovsk map. Yeah, here we have the Novenke push as well. And quite clearly, this is happening. Russia is pushing from Sverdlikovo and Darino on two axes towards Basivka, and then they are a couple of miles away from Yunaikivka. Yunaikivka is more than likely the end goal here. If they reach Basivka, they can cut this supply line, but then, like I said, if we head on over to my map, what's happening here? Away you go. We're down at Pokrovsk at the moment. Not going to be talking about Pokrovsk. We're going to be talking about Kursk. So Yunaikivka, these are the two supply routes, main ones leading into Kursk. And we've seen some updates the other day of how many targets have been hit along this supply route. Ukrainian logistics being hunted down by Russian drones, and Russia is coming down this way. They're coming down into Novenka. I haven't updated yet, and they're heading for Basivka. And from here they can cut this supply line, and if they reach Yunakivka, then it is this dirt track here. You can see it, right? That is the one that they will also cut if they take Yunakivka. So, and then everything will have to come in this way from the south, from Sapsilia into Gornal, and then everything will break down. They can't supply the entire front line here via these small. I mean, take a look at these roads. They're hardly roads at all. If you zoom in, it's not gonna happen. Take a look. There are no roads here. There's nothing. Dirt tracks leading up here, and then it all. You can have some paved roads over here, absolutely, and this way. But it's this one road here, leading up to Goyevo. And the Russians are over at Plakovo. They can launch artillery, drones, airstrikes, everything at this location here. And they've already crossed the river Pesel and cutting the supplies going up here towards Kurilovka. It's dangerous. And here they've crossed the river Lokhnia. They're moving up to Lebedivka to secure another bridge. The situation is critical in Kursk. Someone asked me, he accused me of being pro-Russian basically because I was the only one highlighting this and no one else was, and all the pro-Ukrainians were saying everything is fine in Kursk. It's not. We are now seeing multitude of pro-Ukrainian mappers, those are the sources I use, showing that Russia has pushed into Novenka. Let's see here if we make it real quick, something like that, right? And like that. We need that one, and we're gonna. So it's basically something like this, right? Whoop, sorry. And it's happening. They're pushing south. They're heading for Basivka, just like the claims here, like these claims. And if they reach here, then how will Ukraine support the entire frontline battle going on here? It's just not going to happen. And Russia is pushing strongly up here in the north into Pogrebki, coming down the Malaya Lokhnia River towards the town of Malaya Lokhnia. Here is where the Ukraine launched an assault out of Sudzha towards Cherkasskaya. Hang on. Cherkasskaya Konopelka. Yeah, and Russia has pushed up. We've seen geolocated positions of Russians in this area here and within Fanasevka. So Russia is pushing back in this area where Ukraine launched that successful assault a couple of weeks ago. It's happening. So you can call me pro-Russian all you want. That doesn't change anything on the front line when we're seeing it. You know, the things I've been talking about here for 5-6 days maybe. The Russian push down towards Basivka, as shown by multiple different mappers. It is happening. And it's dangerous as hell. And we need to keep a close eye on this, because if Russia reaches Basivka, then this entire operation here might be over. Here you can see how Russia has pushed in through Pogrebki and Orlovka, for instance. So you can't just trust one map. You have to look at all the various maps and try and find a middle ground, basically, of what all the mappers are saying. But as far as Kursk is concerned, I've been asked about this as well by people, about these claims over here, how credible they were and stuff like that. Can we really trust them? And like I've been saying, you have to wait 48 to 72 hours for confirmation that these claims are true. And when it comes to Kursk, when ISW puts up a Russian claim, usually in Kursk at least, within 48 hours, 72 hours, those claims are confirmed. So as far as Kursk is concerned, the ISW map is pretty accurate. What they are saying has happened or will eventually happen. And the other mappers align. For instance, most mappers doesn't show that this is under Russian control yet. We have seen on Andrew Perpetua's map that Ukraine has directed airstrikes into this area. So clearly, Ukraine was bombing what they considered to be Russian positions across the river Pesel. But not that many mappers are showing that Russia has a presence on this side of the river, right? So you can't just trust one map or your favorite YouTuber or whatever. These maps are available online. Everyone can watch them. They're free. Doesn't cost money at all. So I'm basically standing on the shoulders of giants. They're putting down tremendous work to get these maps sorted out and provide us with the intelligence we have no business knowing. Basically the location of Russian and Ukrainian army units. Weird as hell. Now, this is also an interesting location for Swedes because this is probably where we have the 21st mechanized. Let's see here if we can go over to Ukraine control map. And hang on, it's gonna take half a second for you, but it's gonna take a minute or two for me. So yeah, I'm gonna sort it out. So here is Ukraine control map, and they keep an eye on where units are located. Incredibly enough, a lot of these units have their own TikTok pages, their own Twitter accounts, their own Facebook pages, where they post images revealing basically where they are if you're clever enough and can figure out what's in the background. It's insanity. This war follows no rules of OPSEC whatsoever. I mean, this here is essentially espionage, what we're looking at. This is someone who is keeping track of Ukrainian units and Russian units. I mean, if that's not a breach of OPSEC, I don't know what is. It's just incredible. Anyway, they have not yet updated any locations of Russians in Novenke or coming down through this area here. As you can see, these are all geolocated positions of Russians and Ukrainian units getting struck. I can show you. Here you have Cherkasskaya, Konopelka. These red dots here are from the 22nd of February. So Russia has quite clearly made the push back about a week ago into this area. Anyway, over here, we're talking about why this is of interest to Swedes, is this unit outside of Darino, the 21st Mechanized, and they are the ones primarily operating CV-90 combat vehicles and Swedish tanks, the STRV-122. Basically, it's one of the more elite units in the Ukrainian army. They operate Leopard 2A6, I believe. So a very advanced, very capable German tank. The STRV-122, an upgraded, heavily armored Leopard 2 tank. And of course the CV-90, the Swedish version with the powerful 40mm Bofors gun that can destroy any target that comes across, including tanks. If you get an okay angle on a tank, you can have penetrating shots in the flank with the 40mm Bofors. So the CV-90 is a beast of a vehicle, and they are operating here. Last known location was here south of Darino, and this is where Russia is now pushing strongly. So chances are we are having the 21st Mechanized operating here around Basivka and Novenke, trying to hold the line as Russia is pushing towards Yunakivka. And yes, the situation is critical. It is dangerous. Ukraine needs to address it somehow. It might force Ukraine to move troops from the north to reinforce the situation at Novenka and Basivka, maybe. I'm thinking Ukraine will have to give up territory in Kursk to secure the supply lines. Wouldn't surprise me. We'll see how they handle it. It's not over by any means, but they need to contain the Russians on along this section of the border. Otherwise, it could spell disaster for the entire Kursk campaign. And hopefully, the Swedish equipment in use by the 21st Mechanized will help out in securing Novenka and Basivka. The CV-90 is a extremely powerful armored vehicle, and the STRV-122 is perhaps the best tank in the war so far, with its extreme armor. And the gun is it's an older gun. Standard Americans use the same gun on the Abrams, so it's nothing. It's not the latest gun, but it's a standard gun. But the armor is what makes the STRV-122. It makes the STRV-122 really stand out. It can take a beating unlike anything, and the Ukrainians have said that they've been hit by enemy tanks, by anti-tank guided missiles, by drones, and so far not a single crew member within an STRV-122 has died in this war. And that should tell you something about the extreme armor on this Swedish tank. Anyway, that's going to have to be it. Hope I'll see you in the next one. As always, go på marsch, Ukraine, and give them hell.